Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for a vinyl update where I tell you guys the records that have recently made it into my collection over here. And yeah, just my recent vinyl pickups that I've gotten a chance to listen to and peruse a little bit and gain a bit of familiarity with, so I can actually come on camera here and talk about those records. Now, in this vinyl update, what record to start with? What record to start with? What record should... Oh, hey, maybe I could start with one of these 4 sealed copies of Frank Ocean's Endless. You know, just pick one of them. You know, just not open all 4. You know, just open one. Just open one of them. One for me. I have plans for the other 3, but you know, one is for me personally. Let's I mean, if each one is as good as the next, so eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, my mother told me to pick this one, and you are right. Over here. Wow. This one. Okay. All right. Okay. You know. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with this one. We'll go with this one. This one, yeah, we'll go with this one. All right. Okay, Frank Ocean, Endless. This is the new vinyl record of this album. I love the shiny sort of cover of this thing. Also, it says on the front, new improved full dimension stereo. It makes me kind of wonder if I should do a redo review of it, because I didn't really give the record that much critical overview in my blonde review, because I just kind of saw it as like a promotional thing. But now that we're talking about improved sound quality over here, and I'll have an opportunity to just take the record in on its own merits, not within the context of blonde necessarily, not directly. It'll probably be easier to give it a listen and give a review of it, you know, as opposed to having just 2 projects like dropped on your lap at once. You know what I mean? Obviously I have not put this on the table yet, which is, I've put everything else here that I'm going to be talking about on the table, but I wanted to open this with you guys because it's exciting! I've been waiting months for this thing. Okay, wow, there we go. It's even shinier with the plastic off. How is it so shiny? It's like it's from the future or something. Wow, that's a nice like rainbow holographic. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. We got a gatefold here. No, we don't. We don't have a gatefold. I thought it was a gatefold. It's not a gatefold. Not that I'm disappointed, but I actually thought it was a gatefold because it feels like a double LP. So it is actually a double LP. All right, let's see if there's anything in here besides nothing in there. Okay. Yeah, it's empty. This is empty. Not entirely empty. There were records in there. Okay, let's see. All right, Slide on Me, Florida, Rushes 2, Higgs, Sideways, Mitsubishi Sony, Don't Fucking Touch. We have the sound equipment over here. Various pictures of the area in which it was recorded. Frank Ocean, T-shirt, Sound Vision. 46 minutes of 124 hours in the life of Frank Ocean. Okay then. All right, is this like 46 minutes in his life? Okay, well, oh, wow. Wow. Okay, I was just like, well, why is it like a double LP if it's just 46 minutes? But Unity, At Your Best, You Are Love, Alabama, Honey Baby, Wither, Hublots. They have a few moody pictures of Frank. But it looks like we have 3 sides here. The 4th side is an etching. That's interesting. Yeah, there you guys can see it sort of. Oh wow. Yeah, we have a cool little etching here of like an image made of letters like almost like computer code. It's I think it says end. Wow, that's interesting. It's always cool to have an etching on a record. Records with etchings are always pretty freaking sweet. This is very glossy. It's very clean. It's very pristine. It's very smooth looking press. There's an etching on both sides. Well, there's an etching on both records. Okay, so each record has a side. Each record has an etching. 120 hours in the life of Frank Ocean. 46 minutes of 120 hours. So is this like and less, or is that, yeah, less. Okay. So it says the track titles on the other side to let you know what it's going to be going to. That's interesting. And I thought there was a DVD with this or something, or maybe I didn't order that package. It might have been a separate package and I didn't order that, and I just wanted the vinyl. But to all of you who picked this up, I mean, it looks nice. It looks great. It's probably going to sound great. The vinyl is pretty heavy too. It's a heavy pressing, so it's probably going to sound quite nice. And I don't think they would have, you know, thrown this whole new improved dimensional stereo sound thing in your face if they didn't, you know, improve the sound noticeably. So pretty psyched to listen to that. Again, I have not heard it, so I have no comments on the sound of this new pressing of this new record yet, but once I listen to it, you will know. However, I have listened to the rest of what I'm going to be talking about here. I have a good selection, a fun selection of things. Starting off with some of the most fun, this Deerhoof, La Isla Bonita. This is an album of Deerhoof's, experimental rock band, indie rock band that I have reviewed numerous times, although I did not review their new record because I suck and I'm a terrible person. And I apologize, okay? If the band is watching, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm a dick, okay? And I was lacking, okay? I was lacking last year. I wasn't at my best. I'm trying to do better in 2018. But this is one of their cooler, one of their more lo-fi records. And I had to pick this up because this is a unique pressing of this album. No, this album is not like some little 7-inch album or something like that. This is a book. And what it is a book of is flexi discs. What the hell is a flexi disc, you may ask? It's like a little record on a sheet of plastic, or like on a card or a postcard or something. A lot of punk bands used to drop these back in the day. A lot of record labels used to drop them too as like promotional items that would go with magazines, or just kind of release a song to get people hype on an artist. You know, it would be an efficient way of putting a song onto a physical medium and mass producing it, and then being able to distribute it very cheaply, you know, without having to put it on like a physical larger piece of vinyl that they would probably have to sell. So this is a whole book of flexi discs. It's the entire album in flexi disc, and each 2 tracks of the album are a page with lyrics and different pieces of imagery. And you know, I've owned and have listened to flexi discs before, and I didn't think the ones on this record would sound as good as they do. They sound pretty good. They sound quite good. They have a nice kind of bassy depth to them that I typically don't hear in a lot of flexi discs. But given, again, that they are flexis, there is a lot of skipping, or there can be skipping. They're not perfect. You know, you do have to kind of expect some imperfections out of the box, as it's just literally grooves for a record printed on a thin sheet of plastic that you can just bend. So I guess if you ever run across any flexis or anything like that, keep that in mind. So yeah, it didn't sound too bad, and you know, it reminded me, having listened to this is easily one of Deerhoof's groovier little albums, and it was a cool little pickup. You know, it sounded good. It's pretty fun to be able to whip that out, and it's interesting to see an album, you know, an artist and a label sort of approach distributing, printing an album creatively like that. It's a nice little package. Moving on from there, I have a 7-inch record. It's a Hallmark record. This is a record from Hallmark. My wife got me this for Valentine's Day, and it's a 45, and it's like they had this in the greeting card aisle, and she says, "Oh, I love you so much, love of my life." And I love you too, honey. You're the light of my life as well. And you know, XOXO. And this is a 7-inch single of INXS's "Never Tear Us Apart," and also on the other side, "I Need You Tonight." I need you tonight. I'm trying to take it out over here. Where is it? Which way is it coming out? Which way does it come out? I listened to it. It comes out this way. I'm dumb. Sorry guys, I'm stupid. So there you go. It's a greeting card record. I don't know if any of you guys got these for Valentine's Day, but that was quite nice of my significant other to think of me in that way, giving me the gift of music. Exactly what I want for every fucking holiday for the rest of my life. Good music. That's what I want for every day, ever. You know? Sometimes it's a little hard because I get spoiled because I'm listening to some, you know, some good shit all the time, but still, amazing. Thank you. Shout out to Bay. Next, my friend Greg hooked me up with this shit. Shout out to Greg. You know, another shout out to the blessings of having friends with impeccable taste. Greg hooked me up with this record out of the blue. A Bout De Souffle, Jean-Luc Godard's. It's a film. It's a new wave French film, which I'm unfamiliar with. I have not watched the film. And I'm unfamiliar with the soundtrack. And I'm not much of a film buff. But this is like a really good jazz record. I mean, it doesn't sound too much conceptually unlike a lot of other Hollywood or sort of film jazz soundtracks that you might have heard in the past, but some of the bass lines, some of the rhythm sections are kind of like, they have like this drunken lumber to them, and some of the horn parts are really animated and evocative and very expressive. There's just like a lot of color. And so, you know, some of the solos or some of the embellishments are kind of weird. Again, to sort of enhance the dramatic effect of the film. You know, not so much for like, hey, this is all about our technical chops and, you know, we're just like having a really hot jam session here. But still, it's like a really fun, colorful jazz record. When I first opened up to this thing, I was like, what the hell is this? I have no idea what you're getting me into, but when your friends have good taste, it's a blessing. So... next, shout out to Third Man Records. This is a promo that they sent me for their Parquet Courts live at Third Man Records. Little LP they have here. On this thing, if you guys are Parquet Courts Records fans, I mean Parquet Courts fans, Duckin' and Dodgin', Bodies, Black and White, Vienna 2, Always Back in Town, Dear Ramona, Descend, Instant Disassembly, Raw Milk, Into the Garden, Sunbathing Animals. Some of this material I wasn't really that crazy about on record, found it kind of tedious, and compositionally, maybe it still is that to an extent in the live setting, but hearing them pull it off live does have like a stronger sense of groove to it, a little bit more excitement, a little bit more guts to it. It's not the cleanest live recording. You hear a lot of room ambience on it. You hear a lot of crowd on it as well in between tracks. You know, but I guess if you like the sense of a live show, you know, if for you those are kind of the cherries on top of the live experience or even a live record, then certainly try this out. I mean, the performances were decent. So if you're a big Parquet Courts record guy, fuck, why do I keep saying that? If you're a big Parquet Courts guy, it's because I'm looking at the labeling up here. You should definitely give this a shot. And I'm really looking forward to their new album because everything I've heard from it so far is pretty hot. And while we're on the topic of Third Man Records, I will also shout out Mr. Jack White. Picked up a vinyl copy right away of Boarding House Reach. I'm loving this record, Mr. White. I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward pressing, just black record, extra thick though, extra thick, and a very strange sort of geometric almost portrayal of, I guess, Jack White or a bust of someone over here. On the back, more lyrics and everything, more credits. It is a little difficult to read some of the lettering, but you know, not too bad. You know, I love this record quite a bit. Corporation, such a great song. Start Corporation! Blue labeling with the white lettering there. Very stylish. Third Man Records, they used to be all about the black and yellow, but now they're all about the black and blue. You know, I don't know exactly when they made that aesthetic connection, and I still do catch a lot of yellow in their stuff, but they're very much about the black and blue these days. So shout out to Black and Blue. Good color combo. Another dark album cover. Ah, Swans the Seer, I finally got it on vinyl. Or rather, I got this on vinyl at my Amoeba Records thing. You know, you guys probably saw me do What's in My Bag. If you didn't, why the hell haven't you watched that segment? Go and subscribe to Amoeba Records on YouTube, and go watch my What's in My Bag if you haven't watched it, because I pick up a lot of good records in that episode. And I picked this up. I already had it on CD, but it sounds better on record. That's not always the case with every album, with every artist, but in the case of Swans, it's definitely the case, especially when you are... It's definitely the case. I said twice. Especially when you have as grand an instrumental presentation as this record does, as To Be Kind does, as The Glowing Man does. This record is easily maybe like the most lo-fi-ish of the three. There are some points where it feels like they reach almost a peak of volume that they can get to, but still, the resonance of this album is certainly better on vinyl than it is on CD. Now, given that it is Swans and it's, you know, one of the three albums in their recent trilogy, it's a triple gatefold, it's a triple record, it's big, it's huge, it's gigantic, whoa! And this pressing is most certainly worth it, if not just to see this thing's butthole on the back. Again, it just sounds great, very long-winded, very intense, very heady and cerebral, but also visceral too. Experimental rock, some of the best material Swans has ever done. And, you know, since I had originally reviewed this and listening to it on vinyl as well, it's certainly grown on me since I originally covered it. Not that I didn't like it when I did originally cover it. I certainly did. All right, next. Shout out to the good people over at DFA Records. Not that they sent me this for free. I mean, I bought it. But, you know, shout outs to them for coming out with this great album. From Guerilla Toss, GT Ultra. This very strange LSD blotter page over here is basically the cover art. I kind of love the visuals of this. Pretty straightforward pressing over here. Not too much to speak of other than just black record, lyrics, GT Ultra, and very psychedelic lettering. And you also have like these little chemical figures depicted on the labeling of the album too, which is pretty fun. If you haven't heard this album or seen my review of this, please do check it out. It's a little kind of art punk, synth punk, post-punk record with a lot of influence coming from bands like XTC and Devo, you know, sort of the freakier side of the post-punk genre in the 80s, and the freakier, dancier side. And something when I was listening to the record that kind of hit me, which obviously ties in with the you know, LSD cover over here, is, and maybe this is something that subconsciously appealed to me about the album and made it stand out to me, even though maybe on paper, the influences that go into this record are pretty obvious, but it's rare that I hear this kind of music portrayed in like a psychedelic context, and this record is certainly that. Like, the music is so funky, it's punky, it's groovy, it's very sound rich, but it's very trippy. It's very trippy as well, and very surreal, especially when you're reading into the lyrics. So give this thing a shot if you haven't. It's a short record, not a whole lot to it, a lot of bangers, a lot of color, a lot of personality. Here is another one from my significant other. I think she got me this for Christmas. She got me a few records for Christmas, which is always great. Again, when people around you have great taste, give you interesting stuff. I don't want to put these over here and have them fall off the stand. When people have good taste, give you interesting stuff, because I do know people and have met people who are like, oh, I'm intimidated to get you anything. You might hate it. You know, if I haven't heard of it before, just like blow my mind. Just like totally turn me on to something. Now, Bridget Fontaine is a French musician, and this record over here, listen, some of you guys ask me, like, does your wife like the same music as you? And for the most part, yes. But she's into a lot of stuff that I'm not even into. She's, you know, onto stuff occasionally that I'm not even into, and I have such a blind spot when it comes to a lot of French music. And given the cover, given kind of the computer-like lettering and kind of the fuzzed out like old school digital photos over here, I thought I was going to hear like some crazy like experimental synth music or something, but believe it or not, this is like an avant folk record, an experimental chanson song record, an avant jazz record. There's a lot of spoken word on this thing too, a lot of strange a cappella pieces with very freaky vocal harmonies. It's a very odd record. Like it's not catchy in the least, but not in a bad way. It's very strange. It's very stimulating. It's very left field. It kind of makes me want to sample it, honestly. And sort of brown and white lettering over here. Not too much to say outside of the cover, or rather the record itself is in really good shape. You know, it's in really good shape. Whoever had it before, outside of just like a tiny hairline scratch that didn't really make much of a difference. Outside of that, there's not really much wrong with this pressing. Sleeve's a little torn up, but I have some spares over there. I'm going to switch it out for another one. So there we go. Easy as pie. Easy as pie. If you're a record collector, one of the best investments you can make is just go on the internet and bulk buy just like 100 paper sleeves that just sit there in a bag, and whenever you go buy an older record, hey, the sleeve's fucked up because the record is older than me. Just pop it in a new sleeve. It's all good. All right, moving on from there. Moving on from there. Now that we're past Bridget Fontaine, not La Fontaine, just Fontaine. She actually bought me 2 records from this artist, and another one as well, which when I give those a listen, you'll see them in a future vinyl update. Next is Axe to Fall from Converge. Woo! Double, well, not double, just a gatefold over here. I love the art that they attach to their stuff, typically. It's just very dark and morbid and beautiful. Love the cover, love the visuals. It's got like a nice kind of cardboard finish on there. Nice little insert over here with all the lyrics, it seems. And this is a very recent pressing that they did of not just this album, but a series of other records in their discography that were like limited edition colored copies of these records. So I had to pick those up. I'm doing giveaways with at least a few of them. Not right now in this video, though. This is freaking cool. Is that like that's like a gold and blue? Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much the colors of the album cover. And it's funny because like the splatter, I don't know if you'd call it a splatter, it's more like a blob, I guess. The blob doesn't necessarily pour all the way through on the other side, so it's like it's like a totally different kind of gold and blue mix on the other side. Very nice. Very nice. Definitely one of the best metalcore records you could put your ears on. Definitely one of the better Converge records. Easily in their top 5, if not their top 3. Probably more of a top 3 Converge record, honestly. Guitar work on this thing is some of Jacob Bannon's best. The production on this thing is some of their best as well. Definitely one of their most consistent and solid albums to date. So make sure to... what the heck is going on here? What is going on here? What is going on here? What's going on? Is it, yeah, it's the download card. It's the download card. It's getting all stuck in there. I already have it on CD, so stop. Stop. I'm just throwing words out there into the ether. I like download cards. They're nice. They're convenient. All right, Axe to Fall. Great record. Great record, great pressing. Fun blue colors. Shout out to Prince. Dirty Mind. Very nice album. Not quite as lush or as, I guess as iconic as 1999 or Purple Rain, but still a pretty great record. Very fun and sexy photo of the band right there. Pants unzipped. One of them's a doctor. Checkered pants. They're a fun group. I've never seen the cover this big before because I've always just owned this digitally. You know, there's something about this album cover that's always kind of struck me as like a little eerie. I don't know exactly the circumstances under which this was shot or even how this background was achieved. It looks like it's like springs from like a bed like mattress or like a box spring or something. There's something about Prince's look on this cover that is so strange to me. The handkerchief, to me, almost doesn't go with like a lot of what he's wearing, but still, it's eye-grabbing in that it seems like almost like the most crisp thing in this image. Everything else has like an oddly soft glow on it. He looks like a ghost on this cover. He doesn't even look real. He looks like an apparition. Just like everything just has like such a soft look to it. I feel like the longer I look at this photo, the more like Prince is just sucking the lifeblood out of me, like a Dorian Gray kind of thing. It's just a very eerie image. But also, there's a pin on his jacket over here that says Rude Boy. Never took Prince as like a big ska fan, but apparently he was. So there you go. And a lot of good songs on this thing. I mean, Dirty Mind is great. Head is great. Love the song Head, which is obviously about what you can gather from the song title. But still, incredibly fun and sexy song. A lot of good synth licks in this thing. A lot of good bass lines. Vocally, I think Prince is still trying to find himself a little bit. You know, you can tell he's like going really over the top with some of his like, you know, squeaky falsetto, very expressive, you know, almost like a cat screaming sort of vocalizations, but still it makes the record really entertaining and just unique, you know, just which made him unique. So again, while it's not his most polished record, it's still a very fun and entertaining album. Next, shout out to my dude Olaf, who I met when I was in New York City doing a shoot talking about K-pop music and a lot more with the 88 Rising label. You'll see some of that video content coming out very soon. He had basically a little set back there that they had set up that we were sort of, you know, interacting in and everything. And this dude had brought his record collection down to the place as like a prop, so it could kind of sit there in the background. And I was looking through it, and you know, he was telling me how long he's been watching me and everything, and he was a big fan, and I could certainly tell because a lot of my recommendations were in the frickin' record collection. But then he had a copy of this, and I was like, oh man, you know, that's a pretty fun album. You know, it's a record that I know it's not perfect from front to back, but it's an album that it has some great synth production, it has some funky beats, it has some good tunes on it. I love the aesthetic of it, and you know, there's a lot of great things about this Neon Indian album. If you didn't know, it's titled Vega International Night School. I mean, I don't know. This is a really good record from Alan. I was like, yeah, man, that record's really fun. I just love the vibe and the aesthetic of that record. There's not a whole lot of albums that to me feel like this album. And he says, well, you know, I don't play it that often, and the album kind of reminds me of an X, so do you want it? And I was like, what? The album reminds you of an X? Like, what? That's a reason you give an, like, I have so many albums that remind me of people who I used to date or something. Okay, fine, whatever, let's do it, let's go. And he just gave it to me, like a nice guy, lyric sheet over here, credit sheet, pretty straightforward, double LP, gatefold, nice like internal art right there, like definitely like some 80s kind of retro futuristic. The smut tape, the saxophone, the guitar looking thing. That's a fun little design on the inside. And the record itself is like a very strange, clear-ish yellow. Like a smoky yellow. So very fun pressing. And again, shout out to him. Just so happy, so pleased, so blessed to know people personally who are so generous with the nice music that they have, because it adds to my collection, it adds to the musical experience. Again, another instance of that. Shout out to my dude Ben, who runs things over at the Drunken Peasants podcast. He sent me some records this past Christmas. I sent him some records. We had a bit of a record exchange going on. The dude is a big pop punk fan, a big skate punk fan, big NOFX fan. I've never been a big NOFX guy, but slowly over the years, he's kind of like, yeah, you should try this, you should try that. He's kind of turned me on to the idea of NOFX. And he sent me this EP from NOFX that I've never heard of before. I'm familiar with most of their biggest, most popular albums, like like Punk and Drublick or something like that. I'm familiar with a lot of those titles and covers. But I'm not familiar with this. I was like, what the hell is this? The Decline. I've never heard of this before. The Pledge of a Grievance to the Flag, so on and so forth. I had no idea what the heck this was going into it. This is a single EP, and it's unlike anything NOFX has ever done before. it's and again, it kind of blew me away that I had never heard of this before. Although it's very understandable that this record would exist because it's on Fat Records and it came out around some of the earlier years of the Bush administration, and that was when a lot of those types of bands were going super hard on the political side of things. And this is a single EP where it's just like one epic long, like gargantuan pop punk rock opera, and it's just this long, ambitious, multifaceted, multi-phased political musical diatribe that flows really tightly and is actually really exciting. Like some of the best stuff I think NOFX has ever written. I was like blown away. I did not even know this existed. I did not even know that they had it in them. And this is just really great. The Decline, NOFX. I was just really impressed with this EP. Really sad to know that I didn't even hear of this before. But that's an unfortunate fact of life. You're not going to hear about everything. You're not going to know about everything, and that's why it's important to know cool people, to have good friends who, when they hear about good shit, they turn you on to it. So that's that. NOFX, The Decline, man. It was good. It's really good. And on the B side is one of their more popular songs, I believe, Pressed. But outside of that, it's just The Decline, man. Good EP, very good EP. And finally, I lied earlier. I lied, saying that I opened everything, but I didn't. But Injury Reserve hooked me up with a vinyl copy of Live at the Dentist Office and Floss, and it's a double LP. It's both records. It's in a gatefold. It's sealed. I don't know. I was kind of sitting here wondering if I want to open it. I have both on CD. The record's probably not going to sound too much different than the CD, but I was just thinking like, ugh, do I want to open it? Do I not want to open it? I don't know if I want to open it. I don't know if I want to open it, guys. I think I might just want to just leave it there, sealed, just forever. I'll do that. I'll leave it at that. All right, you guys are the best. I love you, love you, love you. And I will see you in the next video. Over here next to my head is another vinyl update video. And, like the playlist, the vinyl update playlist. There's also the link to subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you in the next one. Okay? Forever.